Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I'm Wiso from Footmex Nation. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football. Usually, we would have a great intro. We'd have some music, a backdrop. We do a big ordeal about it, but we're running late because, one, there was some debate, so I'm sure everybody enjoyed. You didn't have to pick between Monday Night Football and the NFL, which normally Mexican Soccer Show tops that, of course. But the debate was tonight, so we decided to move it over and give you guys a time to watch it so you don't have to be watching, and you can definitely watch us live. So we moved it up. Sorry for everybody on the East Coast who is it's probably 11 o'clock, and I know you have to go to bed, maybe go to school, go to work. But we apologize, and thank you to all who are already joining us on the chats and are ready to talk and debate about all things Mexican football. How's it going, Tom?
All good, Wiso, yeah. All good in Guadalajara. Just checked out the debate. Very interesting. What can you say?
I mean, it's pretty much the same topic as you said before in our little pre-show, right? It's the same topic.
Just sent a tweet out. It's also going to be heavily Mexico-focused, this. Just like the presidential debate was, especially in the first 15 minutes.
There you go. Naive in Mexico City. Naive, amigo, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, Wiso. Good to see Tom and Johnny as well. A busy weekend over here in Mexico. I mean, I think America with a new coach over there in Veracruz. They fired Marini as well. And we're going up. We're already in the 11th week. I mean, it's crazy. We're going into the 12th week. I mean, it feels like yesterday that the league started, but
it feels like it got really slow first 3-4 weeks, and then all of a sudden we're in the 11th week. That's how it is. Mr. Johnny Enrico, Johnny, in San Diego, Tijuana area. Johnny, how's it going?
It's going good. I mean, I feel sorry for myself and anybody who watched the debate. I think both candidates look like clowns out there, and I'm really sad that the establishment did not let Gary Johnson onto this debate.
There will be no political talk here, Johnny. I'll stop you that right now. So regardless of what candidates, this is not the show. No. Thank you, Johnny, for always, keeping us in tune in what's going on in your mind. Lovely. All right, guys. We will be talking a lot about
the
scary world we live in. We will be talking, obviously, today all about just some recent news coming up. We do have a game. Mexico is going to play next week already. A few friendlies that are coming in. Many people not liking having those games. I definitely am glad that we're going to have some practice before the U.S. in Columbus. We'll go and talk a little bit about Europeos, not so much. We don't have a lot of time, so we're going to skip a few things that we already had planned and then talk about Liga MX. Where pretty much everyone's talking about, will La Volpe make America great again? So we'll go ahead and start this show off with some humor, and we're at that. But the news that are coming out right away was obviously over the week. We were discussing a few shows back. Would Gio and Vela be back in the national team? And Tom and Naive, you're obviously ESPN Mexico. There's some news that came out that there might be a chance that Gio will be back on the national team next week. Obviously, the players have already gotten the notices. The clubs have already gotten the notice. You have to have 20 days notice before any of the FIFA dates. So players already know that they're coming. Usually some clubs like to, filter out here and there. Oh, good luck to these guys who are going to have national team games. And we haven't seen that lately. But at least Tom, actually, you know what, Naive, you're in Mexico City where ESPN Mexico is at. What are you hearing out there with Gio might be coming back and maybe talking to Osorio, or where did they get that news? What can you tell us?
No, I think it's no one can deny that, he's been doing great in MLS in the last couple of months, I would say. And the communication between Giovani and Juan Carlos Osorio has been there, even before the Copa America Centenario when Giovani said that he didn't want to play in the Copa Centenario. But the communication with Osorio and Giovani has always been strong by the looks of it. He's putting up the numbers. Mexico is short of forwards at the moment. And right now, I think Giovani would be a good forward to have in El Tri. I think that's having tools, enough tools in the national team to compete in the next hexagonal, which is going to be complicated. The last one was horrible. This one, I think you need your best players on the pitch. And Giovani right now, he's doing excellent in the Galaxy.
We definitely, for sure, all the goals that he has been scoring. Tom, I think there's no one that says it's, Gio does not, warrant a call-up. But there's still some people out there that might be thinking this whole drama, these players against Osorio that we've seen, especially Jonathan, Bella, and Gio. Do you think this is enough? The team is in trouble right now, especially what happened in 7-0. It's enough for it to erase all that and come back on the team?
Well, I don't know if the problem's like Osorio or Giovanni. I think there's been some stories that the problem's more Giovanni and the federation and what he can get out of it and the relationship there as well, which goes back probably a few years. But yeah, I mean, the other thing was Giovani dos Santos was in the ESPN studio. So, put 2 and 2 together and you come out with the story that he's almost certain to be back, and you can kind of probably guess where that information came from without stretching the truth too much. But yeah, like Naib said, I mean, Mexico are really struggling for forwards at the minute. I mean, you look at the league and there's so few Mexican strikers playing, especially young ones. I mean, I think Lozano, a winger, he scored 6 goals, and then Oribe Peralta's next on the list with 4, and he's 32 years old. So I don't know, Martin Barragan, who just got called up for the recent games. I mean, he was on the bench for Atlas. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really be called up if you're on the bench for Atlas, really. Maybe Barraza, but I mean, there's a shortage. So, I mean, if Giovanni doesn't get called up to these friendlies in the United States, you can't see the way back, can you? I mean, there's definitely no way he's going to be in the November ones, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be, basically a chance. Like, Gio, right? You're playing in Nashville, you're playing against New Zealand. Do you want to play for us? You know what I mean? If you want to play for us, show us you want to play in the most, molero de partidos que hay. It doesn't get more molero than New Zealand in Nashville.
Well, Tom, it's not like we have any other countries we can play with during those times. Oceania and CONCACAF are the only nations that are allowed to play. But I'll go to Mr. Johnny. Johnny, you have 30 seconds to respond. I'm trying to be Lester Holt here. No, Johnny.
He didn't even speak.
Johnny, to you, you've obviously said that, Gio is needed in a selección. But regardless if we're needing forwards right now, Gio should be part of the talk of being in the team. You said before that Mexico has done well when Giovanni is there. A lot of people, ask, especially in Osorio's formations in the rotaciones, where would Gio be? And that's you, Mr. Johnny.
Where would Gio be? I mean, I think that Osorio being a big fan of changing. I think that Osorio being a big fan of changing things up, that it's up to Osorio to change things up to fit Giovani dos Santos in the best position that he can, and I think that is that second striker, the second forward, behind the main striker, with the freedom to move around the pitch. I've seen what talented players can do when you give them that freedom. Right now we're seeing it at Tijuana, how Avilés Hurtado just shifts from the left wing through the middle, and when you give these talented players the freedom of creativity, that's when they're most effective. That's when they can produce the most out of their talents, and it's up to Osorio to figure that out. How can he shape the team so that Giovani dos Santos has that freedom to be creative?
But is Giovani dos Santos a good enough player to have a team molded around him in a number 10 role?
Yes. To me, there's no question about it. There's
Does that happen
the one question I do have is,
I mean, do we mold that? I mean, aside from Cristiano Ronaldo,
right. The only question I have around that is if Giovani dos Santos has the temperament for that to happen, but he's never really been given that chance. So
yeah, and also
I can't answer that question right now.
And also, does he want to play? I mean, he said he was, but what happened in the summer? I mean, he rejected the chance, so it's a bit. I just think it's a bit of a risk wanting to build around a team around somebody who don't even know he wants to be there.
I don't believe the company line that Giovani dos Santos said no to a call up. That's what a federation wanted to put out there, and I don't believe the federation one bit.
I think we got to put the situation into perspective. I think this call up in October, there's even rumors suggesting that not all of the Europeos are going to come. Only a selected few, maybe even 2, 3, maybe none of the Europeos come for these friendlies. This is a moment where Giovani is probably going to be around a bunch of U23 players. I wouldn't be surprised if the base is Guadalajara and Pachuca. You bunch those two teams together and you send it to the U.S. for these friendlies. That's where Giovani's leadership role could be sort of judged, because he's going to be one of the old players. He's been in World Cups. He's the star player in Galaxy right now, even though Donovan is playing all over again. But
the 4-star player in Galaxy.
Exactly.
He's the number 4-star.
A 4-star player. But I think if Giovanni's given the chance in these Molero games, like you said, Tom, I think he has to step it up. I mean, if he's going to get a call up and do join the team, it's going to be a good opportunity to see those traits, the leadership traits, because he's probably going to be the oldest one there.
I really do think that they're going to bring all the Europeos. I'd be really, really surprised if they're not, because it wasn't the last time these Europeos were there, and then the Azteca against Honduras, they didn't do well. Now they're going to come back. Hopefully they get a boost. So they're, boost the confidence before they get to the U.S. Can you imagine if they don't bring him up and the next time that they bring the Europeos back is before Columbus? No, you need to practice. You need to go against Panama. You're going to go against New Zealand. Great. I know that's not the greatest opposition, but it's fine for whatever rotaciones or experiment that he's going to want to make against the U.S. Those are 2 games that he needs to practice. So I think everyone from Europe is going to come. The question is, will we have maybe a Jonah? Will we have a Vela? I think that's debatable because he hasn't seen them. But of course, even Reyes, who I don't think should come, as far as his what he has done lately. But
I don't know. I mean, the story's coming out it's like what Naib said, that there's only going to be like a few of them there. I do understand your point, Reese. So I mean, you'd assume that they'd want to come and get practicing because there's a massive game coming up. But so in that respect, it would be strange to not see him. But I mean, all the word coming out is that there's only going to be a few, which poses the question: what's the point of the game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why didn't they just go to Europe, take the Mexico base to Europe, have a training camp, play some friendly games there, let him test the systems, let him get to know the players maybe away from the glare of the media, of the Mexican media. I mean, but obviously the contract's there with some. They've got to play 5 friendly games a year, so it was never going to happen.
Well, Jimenez is hurt.
Yeah.
Jonas coming back from injury.
Yeah.
Carlos Vela probably not going to get a call up.
He's not playing well, is he? I mean, he's just not playing well, Vela.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that point that Tom brings up, and I know we on this show we always talk about it, but this sum contract just messes everything up for El Tri, because if there was a situation, a moment in the Mexican football right now where the team should be in Europe playing friendlies, it was now. Actually, when Iñárritu was still president of El Tri, I asked him, and this was before the Copa America 2015, in the Copa Oro 2015. I asked Iñárritu, when will El Tri make a trip to Europe? He said that in the autumn of 2016. We are here right now. That was a possibility. So it was October.
Who are they going to face in Europe? Even if we had in Europe, in Europe right now.
But I think you could
just fly across and get a team.
You can play Finland. You can play. Not all the teams play at the same time. There's going to be some teams that are going to have some bye weeks. I think there could have been. Japan could make a trip over there.
So playing against Japan or Finland in Europe is going to prepare us for Columbus.
Yes, because you're going to work with your Europeos, your base. They don't have to make the trip to the Americas. You don't have to make the trip to the Americas.
It's a brutal trip. I mean, to Nashville.
You're going to go to Finland and then come back, and I just don't. We got to be playing our opposition if we're going to play the CONCACAF. I mean, that's just how let's play, because we're not playing any European teams in the hexagonal. We're playing around, and even now, that's when we go to the World Cup and we're playing against Europeos, so we're going to the Copa America. Go ahead, let's try to get better teams. We can't beat anyone in the hex in Mexico City. Playing in Finland or playing in Japan is not going to get us to win against the U.S. Playing and I know, obviously the Molero argument, the sum contracts, and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's now that we're going to play Panama. it's funny, and I think it might be. I don't even know how that's even fair that we're playing a team before we're playing in the qualifiers.
I don't think it's allowed.
I don't think it's
I'm not
allowed.
sure, but I don't think it's allowed.
But the thing here that's important, I think, to mention is that if they go to Europe, if they go to another setting where they're away from the Mexican media, they can focus on the logistics more easily. I mean, I think there's more peace, there's more serenity. Do what you have to do. The advantage of being in Europe is because they don't have to make these long flights. I think it's pretty beneficial in that sense.
I mean, you look at the players. Say, Herrera, Porto. He was obviously a key player for club and country. I mean, he's just absolutely key. And you look at his kind of, he's playing Champions League, he's playing Portuguese League. Then in September, he's got to make the trip to Honduras. And then he's got to go back to Mexico City. Then in October, he's got to go to Nashville and then to Chicago. And then in November, he's going to Columbus and then to Panama.
Everyone in Europe is doing that plays in South America.
No way. No way.
And then they're coming back. Or they're going to Brazil, and then they're coming all the way back to England. Like, people make those trips regardless if if you're back and forth. They come back. The good thing about going to the U.S. is that you have better installations. At least you have better hotels. There's better food. There's better. It feels like the trip. At least if you're gonna make a trip, come to the U.S. where it's a lot better. Now I know it's making money and the argument is there, but it's not like Mexico is the only one that's going and coming back across the pond. Everyone's doing it.
Mexico have played 150 games since 2000 in the United States, and they played 73 in Mexico. I mean, I understand the idea of playing there, but it's just so exaggerated. And in many countries, there'd be absolutely national uproar.
So you would rather have Mexico not play as many games or play them all in Mexico? What's the argument?
No, play in Europe, play somewhere else.
But no
do
one
something
does that.
different.
It's not like that many teams play outside their confederation. Only Brazil or Argentina, or Brazil's probably the only one. It's not like Colombia is going and playing all over the place. It's not like even Chile is not playing everywhere.
I would definitely vote for less Mexico games. I think I forgot the exact number, but like Tom said, Mexico's the one national team that plays the most international games. I'm all for reducing the number of games. I think a lot of the pressure that comes over the manager over wins and losses comes from unnecessary games that are being played.
Yeah, and I'll give you that. I'm not saying that I'm just going and questioning in the fact that I think we expect a lot from it, and logistically it can't happen. We expect them to go to Europe, and it's not as hard as easy as people think.
But it's difficult because they've got a signed contract. I mean, it's not.
No, true.
I mean, in general, in every friendly window, they could go to Europe and try and test themselves out, or go to South America. I think September, October, November, these FIFA dates, they're an exception because you don't usually get 3 dates so close together. So obviously it's different this time, but I mean, there's absolutely no reason apart from the contract and making money why Mexico shouldn't play games in Europe, in South America, do things a bit differently. I mean, it's not just the travel; it's the competition.
It wasn't happening before the contract, before the Soccer United marketing contract. It's not like Mexico's flying everywhere, and because now we have to play more games in the United States, then now Mexico can't go. We weren't doing those games, and in fact,
but it's not about that. It's about what it is now and what it could be. I mean, it's obvious what it could be now, and I think Osorio's on record saying it. You speak to old national team players and they talk about it. I mean, it's just I think it's quite.
How many times will Argentina come to Mexico before the Sum contract? How many times do we get to play against a team like Argentina before Sum? And I don't remember.
No, but it doesn't have to be before. I mean, I think that things have changed vastly since then. I mean, a team like Argentina, Brazil, they play a lot of friendlies in Europe. Because most of the players are about there, and then the difference now with Mexico is Mexico for the first time in history, Mexico's got a majority of the full national team squad playing in Europe, and therefore it's a bigger hindrance than ever to make all those flights back over the Atlantic, especially for games when you play New Zealand. I mean, how much are you to learn from it?
I also don't think we can get many countries to come play in Mexico if we didn't have the U.S. contract.
It's a complex situation right now, but I think we sort of diverted a little bit from the initial thoughts about these friendlies, because is it beneficial for the team to not call up all the Europeos? Because that's going to be strange. It was 1 month before the game against the U.S. and against Panama. And if you don't call your best players available, what does that say about the coach? Or what does it say about the situation?
I'd actually say that if the European players did not make the trip, that'd actually be more beneficial because that'd be a lot less changes. They'd have to memorize at practice. The amount of changes that Osorio goes through,
right there. That's
all the different things they have to learn for each different game.
We know you don't like the coach, and we know you don't like Osorio, but saying that you're not going to bring in the players just because he doesn't want the rotation, that's ridiculous.
But I bet.
I'm just saying that.
I bet there are players out there now.
It's a secondhand advantage that the players don't have to go through all these changes in formations and tactics and learn a bunch of different things that they're gonna forget in 1 week.
Okay,
yeah.
Tom.
I bet though, if you obviously the players are never going to come out and say it, but I question whether underneath it all, if you were to ask the Europe-based Mexican players, do you really want to come for these games? I question whether they'd really want to come. As much as they'd say, yeah, I love the shirt, I love the country. I mean, Chicharito, for example, does he really want to leave Leverkusen October? And
Vela and Ochoa didn't even want to come for qualifiers. So
yeah, well, I mean,
it doesn't necessarily mean something. It can be anything. It's for the.
No, I'm not saying it's someone's fault. I'm saying this game in itself. It's like I can't imagine Mexico's players, Marco Fabian, for example, just establishing himself in the Bundesliga, and then all of a sudden he has to make this, huge trip.
I think
to Nashville.
Whoa! Who said Marco Fabian's coming to the national team?
I think Marco Fabian wants to come.
I
think Marco Fabian wants to come to the national team. I really do.
I think he hasn't done enough to be warrant a call up. He's had 3 good games.
We can
and we're already talking about Marco Fabian making the long trip.
No, I said does he want to? I think he should.
Yeah, I think he'd definitely have it. I think Fabian's different. I'm just questioning whether those hardcore players, especially when they know they're only going to play 1 game as well. But I think if the players, when they make the trip like that, they want to play both games as well. So therefore, Osorio's rotation comes into question. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's a bit of a banana skin as well, because if they don't end up playing well, the pressure's already on. You know what I mean? We know what the media's like. We know it's going to be so intense if they don't. Imagine they don't get a result against New Zealand. I mean,
well, then all right, if you can't get a result against New Zealand, I don't know. All right, we can obviously we can kind of keep going on this, but we got to kind of cut it off. I think we went a little on a tangent on the contracts and all of that. Mexico plays whether you like it or not. Mexico is play next week. They're going to keep doing that contract. It's just how it's going to be, regardless of our opposition. People are still going to go to the games regardless of where it's at. So we're trying to beat a dead horse. Mexico plays New Zealand next week, and later on they're going to be they're playing Panama now. Who's warranted to come? We've talked about Gio. Some of them had mentioned Fabian, and we could discuss another 30 minutes of why Fabian should be here or not. I'm sure Johnny would love to do that. He says no. But anybody else? Naib, Jonathan, you might be able to see. Maybe
I think here looking at if the plan is not to if the big fishes are not going to come like Guardado, Layun, Moreno, Chicharito, and if you still are thinking about calling up Europeos. I do think that players like Vela, Jonathan, Salcedo, and even Marco Fabian should get called up. Because they haven't been in the mix. They don't know the Osorio tactics, what his viewpoint is. They got to refresh it. I mean, Vela has been in it. Jonah has also been in it, but that was last year. I think that would be a good idea.
The thing with that, it would cheapen a Giovani dos Santos call-up. It'd be like the reject call-up, and no, Giovani dos Santos does not deserve to be on the reject call-up. He really does deserve to be in the national team.
Chicharito will make it to the team, the games. I guarantee you. If there's anyone that's going, will be Chicharito. He's all over the poster board. He's already like Chicharito will make it.
No, I'm going. I'm saying, well, Naib was saying how if some of the top Europeans weren't coming, then yes, call up, the Velas, the Fabians. But no, I think that would cheapen a call up for Giovani dos Santos.
It could, but I think it also shows, Johnny, that El Tri does have depth. I mean, I think if we're considering Vela, Jonathan, Giovanni, Fabian as players that still have to prove to
Very
be in the 11, it
no,
does say that it's depth.
It's depth. All right, guys, let's move on. I know we can keep talking
no.
about it. I'm gonna stop you right there, Johnny.
No, but I mean, I think the thing with Jonathan though is that I mean, I think you can make the case for Vela and Giovani dos Santos about why they shouldn't be there. I mean, I know Johnny doesn't agree on Gio, but if you look at Giovanni's career, every stage he's taken a step down. He started at the top and he's moved down and down and down, and now he's at Galaxy. I mean, that's the argument. The thing with Jonathan though that I don't get is when you listen to Osorio speak and you listen to what he wants from a Mexican player. In terms of the level he's playing at in Europe, testing himself, a very good Villarreal side, really well organised, and you think, I know he's had a couple of injuries, Jonathan dos Santos, but for me, he ticks all the boxes that Osorio kind of talks about when he talks about what he wants from Mexicans, and it's like, that's what I don't get about Jonathan dos Santos. I find it a lot more difficult to understand why Jonathan dos Santos isn't there than why Vela or Giovani dos Santos in there, as strange as it sounds.
Jonathan dos Santos started playing better.
No, I mean, he played really last season. He was brilliant.
Go ahead, Johnny.
If Gio dos Santos is taking a step down every step of his career, I don't know what step above Olympic gold medal there is. What step above that was he at previously?
Playing in Europe, playing in a better.
What step above?
Well,
above this.
But Johnny,
you consider sitting on a Barca bench above winning a gold medal.
Chaton Enriquez
Vidrio. I guess he's done.
Nestor Vidrio and bloody Chaton have got a gold medal.
Those guys have taken steps down.
Corona has a gold medal. All right, guys, let's keep. Let's keep going. Fabian keeps scoring. He's playing. A lot of people wanted to talk about Fabian and what he's doing, and actually getting some regular minutes, 90 minutes, I think, and doing good things for his club and realizing at least having 2-3 games. I know, Johnny, 3 games is not anything, but for Fabian to have 3 consistent games, you can even admit it doesn't happen very often. So good for him. On the other side, Chicharito, a hat trick, a perfect hat trick that is, doing well. Obviously since last week with his miss, his PK miss that he had, coming back, scoring 3 goals, and giving his team the win. I think he is only a few away from being the lead scorer for Bundesliga this year. So at least keeping going. Chicharito, keep doing what he's doing. That's pretty much a roundup on Europeos. If not, Salcedo, Johnny.
I think I should nominate my postman for the Nobel Peace Prize because he delivered my mail. He did his job. So let's keep praising Marco Fabian as well.
No, I'm not praising. We just say he's doing good. We recognize that he had 3 good weeks. That's it. It doesn't happen very often.
Actually, just quick thing on Fabian and Salcedo. I think we should point out, I thought Salcedo was brilliant.
Yeah.
Not just against AC Milan, but also in the Europa Cup game. And it's like, I mean, what a start to his career there. I mean, he came in, he was on the bench, I think, the first week, and he's just obviously impressed in training. He impressed in the Europa League, and then straight into the starting 11 for the big game against AC Milan. It's like, I mean, I don't want to go too deep right now, but if you want to look at a career path, for Mexican players, and especially, I go back to what Osorio was saying about what he wants to see, and Salcedo is it. He's taken that risk. He had a nice salary at Chivas. He was a starter. He was doing things, in a decent team. No, of course he was. They did really well last season, and then, but he forced the move. It wasn't like he forced the move. Chivas weren't going to sell him. He was adamant he wanted to move, and it was against basically the club's wishes. Eventually, they agreed, and he's gone over there and he's done his thing. And then you look at Fabian, and it's like, Fabian's 27 now. I think Salcedo's 22, 23. And you look at the 4-year difference, and that 4 year is the Olympic span. And you think of Fabian, if he would have actually done the same, or I don't know if his circumstances allowed, but imagine if he'd have gone over then and kind of, I don't know. Things might have been different anyways. But
No,
is the only thing with Fabian? He's done really well recently. It's just for me, it's a bit of a shame that this wasn't 4 years ago.
exactly. Well, a lot of things were happening in the 4 years, so but good that he is there now. Salcedo, you're right, doing great things. I'm still not 100% a believer of Salcedo. I've seen him do great, and then just not having the greatest games. But hopefully, we'll see him there. All right, that's enough for our Europeos. I know people want to talk about Liga MX and what's coming up, and what I said. We talked about last week. I think Ruben Omar Romano was going to be it, and he's not. I think Johnny had some connections there, so he wouldn't be hired. But now we have Antonio Lavolpe.
I don't have connections, but I do have a theory. I think the name of Ruben Omar Romano was put out there just to scare all the Americanistas, and then once it said, okay, it's not Romano, then then we'll take whatever's left.
Johnny,
as long as it wasn't Romano, we'd be happy.
That has to be the most coherent sentence you've said all night. I actually believe that it could be true. Great job. La America La Volpe. Naive, you were there at the presentation. Mr. Bigoton is back. I don't know what he's done in the last 10 years. And I really try to search for something positive. The only thing I could think of is maybe bringing Chiapas into a semifinal spot. Barely. I mean, it's Chiapas. So I really try to look for something positive in the last 10 years. But Naive, you're there at the presentation. El Bigoton is back. Americanistas, some think it's a disgrace for what he had people are still taking to heart with the Cuauhtemoc fight and all that. But if anyone, the regurgitation of coaches that are happening in the Mexican team, I guess you can find some light because you've at least had some success with a coach like La Volpe. What are you hearing in Mexico City, Naive?
Well, it looks like he won the lottery, I think, La Volpe, with the job. Because I think, how you say, after the national team, his career has sort of gone on a downfall and a decline is. I think what maintains
failures. Like it wasn't like good.
But I think
failures.
I think the 2000, his tenure as the national team coach still is big in Mexico. It still gives him the authority to have these type of opportunities because he's the last coach in Mexican football that had a good process with El Tri. A lot of Mexican footballers went on to go to Europe during his proceso. So I think that's what allows him to still have the opportunity to coach a team like America, and it's a challenge for him. Because this is a coach that, hasn't won that many titles, that arrives to a club that has won at least one title each year with Ricardo Peláez, and the pressure is to win the league title. I think here, that's what his main goal is, and it will be a big challenge for him. I think he does have the assets, he does have the squad to take the team to the final, and we'll see how that works. But, he's a coach that has had a history in Liga MX, and that's what Peláez wanted. He wanted someone that knew the atmosphere here to get results right away, and he got a win against Pumas on Saturday. It wasn't a nice win, but it was the win that America needed.
Tom, I could just see the bombs, just the PR nightmare that La Volpe is going to be with America. Out of anybody, the last three, even Piojo, and I just think La Volpe, he needs a job. He's going to take it, but the pressure that you have, and pressure and La Volpe don't mix.
I don't know. I think he's going to do. People have disagreed with me on Twitter, but I think he's going to do okay short term. Because he's a good manager, he knows what he's doing. He's an absolute obsessive person about the game, and he's got a good squad. I think he's got he took over a team that was 5th in the league or something. It's not like a bad team, so I think he's going to do fine in the short term. But obviously, yeah, you're right, Wiso. I think he's a bit of a time bomb. He does crazy things, and I don't know. Has he learned his lesson? Has he learned his lesson in terms of can he control his temperament and knowing that this is probably his last big job ever. I don't think he goes anywhere else.
It's the Liga MX. Chivas, I see Chivas 3 years from now. You can be
I don't think he. I don't think he'll go back to Chivas.
You never know, man.
At the rate they're going, he'll end up at Cruz Azul in 4 years.
I can see it. There you go, Cruz Azul. There we go. It's these problems with these coaches that haven't done anything. There's nobody else. Like we've already had this whole coaching conversation, Tom. Yeah. It's like I wasn't surprised when Romano, everyone else, that are coming in. It's like, well, you go to another team and then you just keep going back and forth. The only teams that are doing something different is Santos, León.
And you know what? I have nothing personal against Romano. I mean, we were co-workers, a couple months ago at Xolos. He's a nice guy. The thing is,
I like that you put your co-worker.
He is the exact definition.
Stop you right there. I didn't know you were the coaching staff of Xolos, Johnny.
I was working alongside him.
I didn't know you had all right next to him.
Imagine Johnny giving him advice from the touchline. Hey, Romano. Hey, buy Gio. Buy Gio Romano.
We were co-workers, Romano. You listen to me too.
We were employed by the same employer.
So he's the guy that sells the tostitos in the stand, bro. Like, can you imagine the taco vendor at the stand? Well, me and Romano are co-workers too.
Actually, no, there's independent restaurants. No, those are independent restaurants. We were, yeah.
But anyways, back to the. You're probably gonna make the best point. Totally trolled you. Go.
Not a bad guy, but he is the definition of a loser. He is just not a guy that wins. He just can't find a way to ever win anything, and that's why he was a really bad decision for America. Now we're stuck with La Volpe, which by comparison is not that bad, but still not a good option.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, clubs these days. You have a list, like someone like, say, let's just put out there Santos. Okay, they've got Chepo now. Somebody inside Santos with the sporting intelligence they have will have a list of people who could possibly come in, a top 5 of managers that could come in and replace him in case something happens, And they'll have the same thing for kind of a right back, centre back, left back, every position on the pitch as well. And it's like, I don't know. Do America? They can't have that list. They can't have that list.
People don't want to go there, maybe too.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's in terms of the continent, it's a big club. But I don't know. I just question whether they have. Do they have a list? I can't imagine that La Volpe was 1 and Romano 2, and
No,
where were the ideas?
The ideas. Have been flowing. It's a club that is quite interesting because in the last years, America has had one of the best U20 sides in the league. I think they won the championship like 3 times in a row or 4 times in a row, if I'm not mistaken. It was 3 or 4. And none of those players have really shown in the club because the strategy is...
Raul Jimenez.
But that's just one, Johnny. That's just one. There's even more players, not just Raul Jimenez. There's a big list of players that...
Diego Reyes. Diego Reyes
hasn't done anything.
But the thing is, Johnny, there could have been more because that club was stacked. There were a lot of.
The thing about America is
you need to find identity, though, no? You don't need Cuauhtémoc Blanco.
A team like America,
we don't have those anymore.
A team like America does not need their youth system. They should be going out and buying the best players available. That's what America is. When Emilio Escarraga bought that team, he brought with him a new identity of going out and buying the best talent available to make the team great. Let the lower teams use their youth system because they can't afford to buy good players. Let the Pachucas, the Pumas, and the Chivas of the world use their youth system.
Just won the championship.
But America is greater than that. They need to buying better players.
But I do get that point, but I think you gotta find the right mixture.
Naive is an Americanista too, just FYI.
You gotta find the right mixture between extranjeros and Mexican players made in America, because right now it's all extranjeros and they get those losses against Pumas or Chivas. That was a blowout in the Centenario, losing 3-0 against Chivas.
But they're low quality. That's because they're low quality extranjeros. How in the world are we putting Silvio Romero when we had look what Benedetto did in 25 minutes yesterday? How can we choose
goal, though. Benedetto
Romero over Benedetto?
No?
All right.
He's only scored once.
Yeah, no, he just barely
he
had a good
scored 3 times in 25 minutes.
Nah, but Benedetto is like Silvio Romero for me.
He's not a big star, though, is he, Johnny? Anyway, let me ask you a question quickly about...
Let me just quick nut once in a while, too.
Quick question about America. And, obviously taking on board what Johnny said about America's spending and like go out and buy these big players. Let's ask this question: have America got the money and the resources to be that America now? Considering the state of the league, considering the spending power of Tigres, Monterrey, other teams, and you look at America and their ownership, Televisa, who aren't having a great time economically as a company, and I don't know. I mean, I've seen a few stories out there, few rumors, murmurs. In the centennial year, if they haven't gone out and splashed cash, if they've settled for a La Volpe instead of a Bielsa or a Gallardo, then does it say something about what's going on behind the scenes at America?
I'm sure the company has, plenty of cash. Whether they're willing to invest it into the soccer team, I can imagine that the soccer team itself is not very profitable. But here in the United States, I see Univision growing, which that's money towards Televisa. I see a lot of Televisa movies at my AMC theaters here in the United States, and I know that's money going to Televisa. So, as a whole, is pretty well off. The fact that they don't want to invest into the soccer team, that's very concerning to me as an America fan. But I know there's money there to be spent.
That's the only way that America can be successful, right? Investing.
I mean, I think even considering the low budget, considering the low budget that Pelais has had, because this has been since Pelais came in, they're still, they're up there. They managed to win the titles with Piojo and with Turco Mohamed. And then, I think those were the two great coaches with Pelais, Turco and Piojo, because Matosas and Nacho, they really never had control of the team. They was really on and off. Right now with La Volpe, well, possible. He's already showing some interesting details there. Some Americanistas will agree with him. Some other Americanistas will not agree with him. For example, right now, he talked to Leon Lecanda from ESPN Mexico, and he already said that Arroyo is not that happy that he's in America. And Arroyo has been an important player for America in the Conca Champions and the Liga MX titles. So there's going to be some friction there. But the results are going to be the ones that are going to, be remembered in his tenure. If he doesn't win, well, he'll be forgotten easily in America.
Excuse me, Matosas is a great coach.
Did he just get fired right now from the Middle East for playing players out of position?
He quit.
Yeah,
he quit.
He was asked to resign.
No, he said he didn't want to be there anymore. I talked to him personally. I know him. I work with him as a coworker together. Johnny,
I saw the press release from that club.
Anyways, I'm glad that America doesn't want to be like the best clubs in the world that invest in the youth, like Barcelona and Real Madrid. And it's that I honestly think you're wrong, Johnny. I think they're going back to that, and they're because I kind of see what Tom. It's not like they're spending money everywhere to try to get the best players. Chivas, on the other hand, is kind of turning that 180 too, but at least they're trying to get Mexican players. But
for example, our U20 striker was this Pineda guy. I cringe every time he steps on the field. Why? Because we don't have a better option.
You're not
proven talent. You're more likely to win with proven talent.
You're not the Yankees. You can't be the Yankees. All right. Let's chat Liga MX specifically. A little bit about some. Obviously, we've been talking about this, but it's the 11th week. Usually, we try to see some kind of Mexican player, maybe 2 or 3, kind of in the top there with scoring. But Tom brought up a good point in our pre-session. Only Chucky Lozano is up there in the scoring ability. Does this have to do anything with the 10-8 rule? And are we going to see that? And the argument goes there. I think I brought it up also on Twitter. Does Liga MX want to have Mexican strikers, be at their top? And I'm the one to say if our best forwards are not in Mexico and they're playing in better leagues, then that's a good thing. And it's kind of hard to get there. But Tom, should we be concerned that we don't have? I mean, Oribe Peralta is the only forward that has been there, and it's not like this is something new. He's done it for the last few years. The only Mexican that's there, and scoring goals for his team as the only Mexican.
No, yeah, I think it's just the maths or the math, as you lot say. It's just the math of the situation, isn't it? But if you have, you put a few strikers into the machine and see what comes out, then you're going to get less product than if you put 100 in there. You know what I mean? You only got 5 strikers playing first division football anywhere in the world, then the chances that one of them is going to become an absolute elite player is a lot less than if you put 100 in there, you know. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what I don't know where it goes.
Doesn't that prove what I was just saying, that playing with proven talent from abroad gives you more chances of winning than to bring up some kid from the U17, U20?
No. For example, Chicharito. I think he's a better striker than any striker in the Liga MX right now. I think we can all agree on that. Raul Jimenez as well. Raul Jimenez. I mean, if this 10-8 rule was in place now, and Raul Jimenez or Chicharito, say Chicharito came through Pumas or something, would they have been given the chances? We know Chicharito's story. He came on, he scored a goal in his debut. After that, he really struggled. He considered quitting the game. But he eventually got the chances at Chivas. They persevered with him. And I think my worry now is, would managers persevere with these strikers when they know they can go down to South America and buy it? I don't think it's about quality either. I think it's about price. And they can go to a lower league. It's basically a lower league. That's what the South American leagues have become to the Mexican league, and pluck a striker out of there.
For example, right now with America, if this kid Daniel Pineda was better than Silvio Romero, which is not that, that's not a high bar. If he was really that good, he'd be playing. He'd be getting that chance. A manager would be dumb not to utilize that talent available to him.
You have to.
But he's not.
But you have to.
He's not that good.
You're neglecting something really important. Is that you don't just turn really good overnight. You turn really how many? Look at the Argentine league. How many Argentines play there? As soon as they debut, they're not suddenly Messi. I mean, you need that game time. You need to be playing regularly. And I mean, that's where the Mexican game's at right now. They're not giving a lot of game time to young Mexicans, so they're not getting that. That first 6 months, first year, basically where maybe they're not going to be amazing. You know what I mean? But you need that playing time. It's like any job you do. There's a bedding in period. And the reality right now is that Mexican players aren't having that bedding in period, so they can get to like Guardado's level or something like that, like he did at Atlas.
Yeah, I mean it's a matter of time. It's also the problem with the league. I think in general is the fact that it's a short season. The teams have to get results right away. If they don't get the results, the coach is gonna get fired and blah blah blah. If we had a long-term season, we could potentially hone these players at their capacity. For example, right now in León, look at Lionel Lopez, the midfielder that, Torrente just came in, he liked him, gave him the opportunity, and he's taking advantage of it. That's important. You have to take advantage of the opportunities in Mexico because they're really limited. Look at Monterrey with Ponchito Gonzalez. He left Atlas to Monterrey. He's actually getting minutes ahead of Cardona and Carlos Sanchez, and he's not taking advantage of them. I mean, that's plain and simple. Some Mexicans do click, like Cesar Montes. Other Mexicans don't click, like it's the case with Ponchito Gonzalez right now.
But do you really think it's the coaches that are coming in, the internet coaches that are not from Mexico? Do you really think they care about Mexican? I mean, they care about winning. They care about making sure that their team's going to win. And I get it. No, I'm not saying I'm excusing the 10-8 rule, but that's the problem with the league, right? You're going to get an Argentine coach or a Colombian coach that really doesn't care if Mexico has more younger players. They're going to see, and the promoters are going to sell them a player that's going to be better than any youth.
Yeah, look at Piojo. Look at Piojo. He's Mexican, and he's at Cholos. That team is Argentinian-based, basically.
And that's what he's doing. Now he wants,
and he's winning. He's winning.
And there's times where that's because he's got the best that he can. But unless you're gonna wipe out everyone, you have to be a Mexican coach to be in the Mexican league. They're not gonna care about the Mexican game. They're gonna care about winning.
I don't necessarily agree that there's a relation between Mexican and being a foreign coach. Look at Pachuca, Uruguayan. Look at Chivas. Chivas coach Almeida is giving his discourse on Mexican players is more badass than any Mexican coach I think I've ever heard. The belief he has in young Mexican players is like, I don't know. I don't really a Mexican coach.
Well, he has no option.
He has
no option.
Well,
I believe him though.
He's got no option.
It's true though. It's true. I mean, it's not like he can search around for other players.
No, but I believe him. I think that's his philosophy. Like, look at Atlas right now. I think it's a good example. Atlas is a club. Go on.
Tom, you brought up how Chicharito he wouldn't have gotten the chance under the current system, but Chicharito, I think you can agree he's kind of like the exception of the generation, because right next to Chicharito, look at the Cubo Torreses of the world. What? Why would a team sacrifice one of its 11 starting spots on the field to have Cubo Torres when they can have an Argentine and a Colombian? That's a lot better than a Cubo Torres or a Miguel Saba or any of the millions of other Mexican strikers that have come up and just have not been great. They're just not that good.
I'll tell you why. Atlas against Monterrey on Saturday. Barraza, 2 first-half goals, great finishes. Jefferson Duque played for the under-20s. He came to Mexico. He's not done it. He's got a lot of goals in the Colombian league. Atlas started with 10 Mexican players. The foreign players who have come in and done absolutely nothing, all of a sudden, they've been shown up, and I think we hit a good point then with the agents. I mean, I think the agents that's how they make the money.
That's it.
They make the money by bringing them in, but I don't even think it's up to the managers. I think it's up to the clubs. We know Pachuca, and I think León these days as well, Grupo Pachuca, have got kind of they want to play with a majority Mexican squad. Team, 11. So that's 6 out of the 11 players are Mexican, and you can see the philosophy there. You know what I mean? And obviously, Chivas have got their philosophy. That doesn't mean they don't want to win. You know what I mean? They believe in Mexican players. And you look at Pachuca and what they've done with the youth system, and that is the absolute antidote to everything that you've said, Johnny. To everything that you've said.
Santos too, Tom.
Yeah.
Yes, but Pachuca championship team comes around once in a while. Other than that, it's Monterrey who dominated that season.
How many times has America won?
America, it's Tigres. If it's not America, it's the Tigres, it's the Monterrey. That Pachuca youth mentality, that kind of team only comes around every once in a while, and it's very rare. It's just a fact that you have more chances of winning, with the proven foreign talent.
No, but I mean, this is
proven is the key, though. Proven is the key. How many times have you had America players that were not proven, Johnny? Though you can make how many different players have come through America that were not worthy of your great club, and that's what the problem is. Instead of knowing
actually, there's been a few, but there's been a few that have not been worthy, but there's also been proven players that once they get to America, they can't handle what America is, because Bozo was a great striker before coming to America.
Bozo was a great striker.
Well, everything that America
Bozo was a great striker in one team, and that's it. After that, he wasn't anywhere. It wasn't just America. Yeah, that's it. Just in Santos. That's it. That was the only time he was a great striker.
Yeah.
And against Canada in the qualifying game.
That's what I'm going at. That these players are proven. These players are proven when they reach America, and just what the entire thing that entails of playing at America.
Bozo was already going in a decline.
Go ahead.
Bozo was already in a decline. I can see a Quintero, or I can see an Oribe Peralta. Even though they start, especially Oribe is scoring. But anyways, I think it just goes back to the 10-8 rule that, okay, we might say this will hinder some players, and I think it's going back, and I can see Johnny's point, to the point that they want to be successful. Are they going to really invest on a kid that they really don't care about the Mexican league? They just want to win. I see Johnny's point, but that could go back to many different things, from the league to Naib's only short mentality, getting results right away, to TV rights, to there's many different things. This 10-8 rule is not helping, and I would be really surprised. I still have not seen one single player, coach, anyone say this is good for Liga. Not even Liga MX, could give out this is why we're doing it.
I'm all pro the foreign player, but I'm very much against the 10-8 rule because it discriminates against Mexican citizens. The naturalized Mexican citizens.
Naturalized Mexican citizens, American-born. So I think that's where we're going to, and hopefully, I just would like to see the other argument, and I haven't seen the other argument.
Yeah, I mean, the only argument I can see, if you take away the Mexican national team, and think I don't care about the Mexican national team, I want a really good league, then it makes perfect sense. A team like Tigres right now, and you look and you think that is a really, really good team. I mean, genuinely, it's a quality team. And I think we've seen a few teams now. Pachuca, I think, is a genuinely good team with a genuinely good. Obviously, they've not been getting it together recently. Even Cruz Azul, there's a lot of quality foreign talent in the league. So I think from a league's point of view, there's a lot of quality now. I think we've seen it. I think I'd argue that if we go back from now compared to a year ago, the quality of the league has improved.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Last year was
good. And you know what? I don't. And you know what? I don't think it's the league's the national team is not Liga MX's responsibility.
Yes,
so Liga MX needs to look at.
That's where you're wrong, Johnny.
Says who?
Says the same. It's the same institution. It's the same institution. It's the same institution. It's the same people.
Do you think the EPL? You think the EPL is looking out for England's best interest? No, the EPL is looking out for the EPL. But Liga MX needs to look out for Liga MX, not El3.
They're the same entity.
No, I think there got to be some synergy there. Like, for example, Germany and the Bundesliga. I think that's the example. Or even Spain a little bit, but you got the Barcelona and Real Madrid there. But even Spain has a good base with its other teams. But it's difficult. It's what do you want? You want stability, spectacularity. It's difficult. The thing is, in Mexican football, it's never stable. It's never stable at the national team level and even at the club level. How many years? The longest coach that has stayed is Tuca Ferretti in Tigres. And then after that, it's like Almeida, Alonso for 2 years. The projects are really short in Mexico. And that also affects, I think, the long-term issues about the game in Mexico.
All right, guys. Lots can be said. 10-8 rule Liga MX. Great chat. Let's go over into next week, or else we're going to be running late. Things are almost midnight in the East Coast. Let's talk about the fixtures that are coming up this weekend. What would you guys say is the game of the week? Tijuana Atlas on Friday, Cruz Azul Veracruz, Querétaro Santos, Monterrey América, León Tigres, Necaxa Toluca, Guadalajara Morelia, and then on Sunday, Pumas, Chiapas, Puebla, Pachuca. I circled Monterrey América a while back, trying to figure out what the best games, but I don't think that's going to be the best game, especially Monterrey. What are we looking at to see if we have to watch one game? What you're looking at, because I can't decide.
I think I'd go Monterrey América, just because.
I didn't do it.
No, I mean honestly, I think with Mohamed, I think I was at the game against Atlas last Saturday, and Monterrey. The reaction of the players I thought was pretty poor. I mean, I thought the body language was poor. I thought Mohamed on the sidelines didn't look right at all. There's something wrong there, you know what I mean? And little dig at Johnny here, but if you go back to the not having Mexican players, I mean, how many of these players actually love that club? And I mean, this is the other thing where when you buy so many foreign players in and don't have homegrown players. And that's my question about Monterrey. And I think obviously playing America on Saturday, we'll get more of an answer. I mean, will Monterrey respond to how poor they've been? I mean, they've been embarrassingly, considering the amount of money and Edwin Cardona on the bench, he should be the best player in the league. I mean, it's a bit of a joke. Just before I think León Tigres as well. I think León have been really impressive since Torrente has come in. Obviously, against Tigres, it's going to be a really, really difficult game. I think I'm going to try and go to it as well. But, León have to win. The time's slipping away from them now. Obviously, they've had an uptick since Torrente came in, but, they've got to beat Tigres. So I think that's going to be a brilliant game because I think León are going to, really fly at Tigres and really just try and disrupt that, mechanical rhythm that Tuca Ferretti has Tigres playing with.
And Tigres is gonna miss, and Tigres is gonna miss important players. No, Tom, I think Ayala, Pizarro, right?
Pizarro,
and even Aquino, 3 starters.
And
that's actually the game that I had kind of circled after looking at it, not because it's León, but because I see Torrente has nothing to lose. They really want. I mean, they really need to win, and they're gonna go all out. And we've seen Torrente do that. I think in the Toluca game, he kind of stepped back and tried to have some organization, but it kind of backfired on him. And I think what he did before, I think it's going to be a very interesting game. I think there's going to be a lot of goals scored. And not necessarily that, Leon, I could just see him losing 4-0 for just being so offensive. But I think it's gonna come out to be a good game.
I like the Puebla Pachuca because Puebla got 2 wins against Veracruz and Morelia, and then Pachuca is heating up. With Franco Jara back in 11, I think he's getting the goals. Chucky is doing well, I think, after a poor showing in the Olympics.
Chivas Morelia.
Rodolfo Pizarro might be back against Puebla, so that'll be interesting to watch as well.
Yeah, I think Guadalajara Morelia. I think it's good.
Good game.
He keeps doing good games. So all right, well there you go, guys. Again, guys, we apologize for the late starts. We had some technical difficulties. It looks like after debate, Twitter was broken, Google Hangouts was broken. Our mics weren't working. Everything was not good. But appreciate all of you guys that are staying late to watch us, to continue. We continue to do these on Monday Night Football. I know there was Monday night games. There was a lot, and you chose to be with us tonight. I want to say thank you to our friends here, Mr. Johnny Rico, for giving some time and giving us a taste of what he goes through every day in his Americanista and his pride. Mr. Naib Moran.
A little insight into his mind.
His mind, he always, there's no reservation with Johnny. And Mr. Tom Marshall in Guadalajara for all the expertise. Guys, follow everyone on Facebook. Also, I think all of you, right? You all have a Facebook, and I wanted to promote that because I know some of you do some live events. Tom, you're on Facebook too. Tom Marshall. You even got the little
Tom Marshall Mex. Yeah.
Tom Marshall Mex on Facebook. You do some great live events there. Some great discussions on a daily basis. I know. Definitely try together and troll you once in a while. Johnny, you also have a Facebook page, right? The Johnny Rico page.
The Johnny Rico page.
Yeah. The Johnny Rico page come on Facebook. And then Naib.
All for words. The Johnny Rico page.
Do you have an official? I'm not sure. Do you have an official Facebook? Not a personal one, but an official one like this?
Yeah, the official one is Naib Moran Football.
Naib Moran Football. All right, guys. I don't have an official one. I should get an official one. I just we'll see where it goes.
Doesn't FootMex have one?
Oh, FootMex Nation has one, but not like the Wiso Vázquez page. Like my own personal fan page. I mean, that's like, I'm not that cool just yet, Johnny. Just yet. All right, guys. Thank you.
I only have 200 likes, so.
Thank you to all: Joel, Eddie, Giovanna, the Stray Gold, Pancho Villa's Army, the guy with name 23, everyone. I'm like, Mexico World Cup. Who's that? That's Tom. Matt Cosme, everyone, guys, jumping on. I'm actually surprised that you guys were actually talking about football. I thought you were going to be talking about the debate the whole time and not pay attention to our show. But you guys, kept it on. You had some great shows. Best one out of the night is why did Chicharito score the hat trick? Because Ronaldo transformed Chicharito when he was in Real Madrid. I really like that comment. Thanks a lot, guys, for all the comments. Guys, keep it in. Next week, Monday Night Football, and then the games are coming. We'll give you some great coverage of the games here in the United States. I know some of us are going to be traveling to the games, so keep it here. It's FootMex Nation. Keep it here with Mexican Soccer Show and all of our respective Twitters. Make sure you follow us, guys. It's been a pleasure, and we'll have Mr. Naib close us away. Mr. Naib.
Well, tomorrow FC Porto versus Leicester City. I think it's an important game for Héctor Herrera, Tecatito, and Layun because they're playing in England. The land of the Premier League, the biggest league in the world. So, important match for those guys tomorrow. I think they have to. It's a great opportunity. I mean, not that many days you have a chance to play against a Premier League club, and Leicester, the surprising reigning champion at the moment in England. So, I mean, come on. If they don't step up tomorrow, it's me voy a poner bien deprimido.
There it is.
Oh no!
Please watch Naib Suicide Watch tomorrow. Please.